All right, guys, so we just got some interesting information from Benedict Cumberbatch. He is claiming that Doctor Strange is not going to appear in Avengers Doomsday. So it was here in this. Okay, I thought the article wasn't going to be there for a second, but he said it here in this interview with Variety. So it says here, you see, he's just told me that Doctor Strange is taking a hiatus in the next Marvel sequel, 2026's Avengers Doomsday. Is that a spoiler, he asks? F it. Undeterred, he shares that things changed when Jonathan Majors, whose character Kang was intended to serve as the main antagonist of the next phase of the comic book film franchise, was fired in 2024 after being convicted of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Cumberbatch's absence from Doomsday has to do with the character not aligning with this part of the story. And though he probably shouldn't be saying this, he also reveals that Doctor Strange is in a lot of Avengers Secret Wars, which will hit theaters in 2027. He's quite central to where things might go, Cumberbatch teases, and he hints that the character last seen casting spells in 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will appear in a third standalone film, but is hesitant to say too much beyond praising Marvel for being collaborative. They're very open to discussing where we go next, he says. Who do you want to write and direct the next one? What part of the comic lore do you want to explore so that Strange can keep evolving? He's a very rich character to play. He's a complex, contradictory, troubled human who's got these extraordinary abilities, so there's potent stuff to mess about with. So yeah, kind of weird. Benedict Cumberbatch, usually not one to let things slip, but it does seem like he maybe accidentally, I don't know, maybe Marvel just wanted to let this, like, put this out there in the ether. Who really knows at the end of the day? But either way, I definitely do find this surprising because Doctor Strange is very much a constant in the MCU at the moment. He just kind of pops up in the Avengers movies. You know that there's always a potential for him to pop up in a crossover like we saw with Spider-Man. He seems like he would be a fairly central character in the multiverse side of whatever Avengers Doomsday is doing. But on the other hand, there is also just the reality of Marvel has kind of set up a lot of storylines, right? Like, we knew that after the end of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, they kind of set up Doctor Strange messing around with Charlize Theron's character. Was it Charlize Theron? I think it was Charlize Theron. After Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we know that Ant-Man still has things to do with Kang. After the end of Eternals, we know that, well, Arsham the Judge is supposed to be coming and rendering his judgment. You know, at the end of Shang-Chi, they tease that Shang-Chi is going to do stuff with Rhodey and Captain Marvel. Like, there's so many plot threads dangling about, a lot of which seemingly have to do with the multiverse. But it does seem to be the case that Marvel is essentially going to be, like, sort of dismissing some of that stuff, right? Like, we're probably not going to see everything that has been set up be followed up with in a satisfying manner. But it also does bring up the question of, like, okay, well, so Avengers Doomsday is not going to have literally everybody, which I think is probably exciting to some extent. It seems like it might be sort of the inverse of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where Avengers Infinity War was very much where, like, we are just going to bring in literally everybody that's ever been in a Marvel movie, and they're going to be in Infinity War. And then in Avengers Endgame, like, yes, you have your big battle at the end where everybody shows up, but I would argue that movie is more so about, like, a core group of Avengers, your OG Avengers, even though, yes, you still have, like, Rocket Raccoon doing stuff. It almost seems like Avengers Doomsday is going to be a more focused movie where it's not going to be literally everybody. It seems like they might pick and choose, like, a core group of characters. And then Avengers Secret Wars might end up being the big dick, like literally everybody that has ever been in an MCU movie, but also in a Fox X-Men movie, but also in a Sony movie, possibly even TV shows, like they're all going to show up in Avengers Secret Wars. But Avengers Doomsday might not end up being as massive of a movie. I mean, it's still going to be massive. Like you're still going to have people coming in through portals and whatnot, but we know that Doctor Strange isn't going to be in it, and that's definitely a big deal. I would actually also be interested to see if maybe they opt not to have literally everybody in both movies, or in either movie, I should say. Like maybe they're thinking like let's keep it at a manageable level of characters so that we can actually tell a good story along the way. I mean, that would also be nice if they were to value the storytelling over just having a bunch of recognizable characters coming through portals. But at the end of the day, we don't really know. Like, we don't have a ton of tangible information here other than Doctor Strange, still a very important character, to be clear, but not going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So let me know what you think about any and all of this in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.